You, outdated individuals, are out of the picture today. Haha. Your services are no longer required. Those were the words of the recently appointed branch manager, a mere few days into her tenure at the bank, where I had dedicated many years of service. Understood, smirking with an anticipatory air as I departed. The following day, an unexpected account cancellation of $700 million sent shockwaves through everyone. What? The bank was on the brink of a cascade of unforeseen and extraordinary events, all triggered by the abrupt cancellation. I'm Edna Johnson, 55 years old. I've been part of this local bank since completing my studies at a community college. My journey began in a clerical role serving at the counter. Now I've taken a step back, allowing the younger, charming bank clerks to manage the front desk. I only step forward when summoned by a customer. Otherwise, I'll remain behind the scenes, ever ready to support my colleagues. Nurturing their professional growth and witnessing them stand on their own is akin to watching my own children flourish. It's genuinely fulfilling. By the way, I've been married to Bob for 32 years. He's 2 years my senior, employed as an engineer at an electrical company. A straightforward man who absorbs his honesty. He patiently listens to my ramblings and offers sage advice. Blessed with 2 children, now married and moved out. It's just Bob and me, leading a serene life. Recently, a new branch manager, Maya Anderson, was assigned to our bank. Maya, a relatively youthful woman at 40, is likely the youngest branch manager we've had in recent years. Her introduction during the morning meeting conveyed a resolute demeanor and straightforward communication style. Now that I'm here, I'm going to rejuvenate this branch and achieve top-notch performance nationwide. I seek everyone's cooperation. Let's work diligently together. Her articulate and confident speech immediately identified her as the type of person I typically find challenging to deal with. Post-meeting, the assistant branch manager guided Maya around the bank, introducing her to the staff. Following the morning meeting, we all commenced cleaning our respective areas of the bank. I began wiping the windows in the waiting area, when Maya and the assistant manager approached me. "Edna, may I have a moment?" "Certainly. What's on your mind?" I responded with a smile. "This is Maya, our new branch manager. Edna Johnson, meet Maya. She is our most seasoned team member with 35 years of experience. If you have any queries, she's the one to approach. She can resolve almost anything. She's been part of our team for almost 35 years, so if you have any question, she's the one to ask. She can solve just about anything." While the assistant manager presented me, Elizabeth scrutinized me, evaluating my worth. "Delighted to make your acquaintance. I may not live up to the assistant manager's praise, but I strive to give my best every day," I said, feeling a bit uneasy in front of the imposing Maya. "Pleasure's mine. You seem to have a knack for window cleaning." "Excuse me?" Stunned, I was met with her laughter. "For a moment, I thought you were a janitor. Well, if I have any questions, I'll be sure to ask you, Edna. Let's move on." "Ah, sure. Sorry, Edna." "Yes," she said, and the two proceeded to the conference room. Never before have I been subjected to such mockery upon the initial encounter. How impolite. I assigned a young colleague to tidy up some scattered magazines nearby. Do I really give off janitor vibes? Absolutely not. You exude a reliable motherly aura, but unquestionably carry the presence of a seasonal banker, Edna. That new branch manager is off to a rocky start on her first day. I wonder if that's a compliment or not. It's hard to tell. As I pondered, regretting seeking the younger colleague's opinion, perhaps it's not entirely inaccurate to say I exude a mother vibe. I admit I can be a bit naggy. I do tend to fuss over the younger staff. Even after that, the assistant manager continued to show Maya around, and the break room was buzzing with rumors about her. Listening in, it seemed that nobody had a good impression of her, which wasn't surprising after seeing her attitude. But maybe she's as capable as she looks. Perhaps it takes someone as assertive as her to lead the branch to greater heights. As she said in the morning assembly, I decided not to jump to conclusions and to observe for a while. When I got home, I told Bob about Maya, the new branch manager. He seemed displeased too and said, "Sounds like a nasty piece of work. You can't just run away from your job, so try to avoid her as much as possible." I resolved to stay away from Maya as much as I could. The next day, after the morning assembly, the assistant manager announced he would be away on a business trip for 4 days and asked us to manage things in his absence. Maya sat down heavily at the manager's desk and began reading the newspaper. Unexpectedly, she called me over. "I'm reading the newspaper here." Wondering what she meant, I saw her sigh in exasperation. Oh, don't you get it? Could you make me some coffee? Oh, okay, sure, just a moment. Surprised, astonished by her arrogance, as I went to prepare her coffee in the break room, I overheard another male colleague venting to a female colleague. He was upset because Maya had criticized his performance from last month. Indeed, he had the worst contract last month, but normally that's not the case. It was just a coincidence this time. I was told that my performance was not good enough and that I need to work harder to achieve results. It was just bad luck that the deals I was working on last month were delayed and only came through this month. It's simply coincidental that the numbers didn't show up in last month's report. What's with the attitude as soon as she arrived? I found myself in the break room just to make a coffee for her, and I really felt like complaining. I consider myself a grown adult, so I didn't say anything. But I really wanted to shout, "What the hell is with this branch manager?" From then on, every morning, as soon as she started reading the newspaper, she would order me to bring her a coffee. Then, the day before the assistant manager was due back from his trip, Maya came over to me again while I was working. "Edna, can I have a word?" "Yes, what is it?" "What exactly is your job here?" she asked me abruptly. I was puzzled but answered, "Currently, I mainly assist with the counter tasks of everyone." "Is that all?" "Well, no. I also clean inside the bank and check the parking lot." "So you're not really doing any significant work, are you?" I was taken aback. "Well, maybe that's true. You see, I've decided to introduce cleaning robots in the bank. That means your job will be redundant, won't it?" She had an insinuating tone. What exactly do you mean by that?" Maya put pressure on me. "Supporting counter operations, which even a single employee can handle, right? You're just here to help them. That seems like a waste of a payroll to me." "So, are you saying I should resign?" "Yes. There's no need to keep someone who can't do productive work, right?" I just looked at Maya in silence. She looked down on me. "Don't you think the company needs a young, promising talent? It's better to get rid of the unproductive, salary-stealing old-timers early on." Maya's exaggerated smile. Then she leaned in close to me and whispered in a small voice, "Unless old-timers like you are fired today, we don't need you." Haha. After hearing this, I realized I had no reason to continue working here. "I got it. If you're firing me, I'll accept it." We both agreed that Maya would dismiss me. "I have a lot of unused vacation days. How long should I keep coming in?" "Oh, is that so? Well, you don't need to come in tomorrow." "Got it. It's been a short time since we met, but thank you for everything," I replied, then quickly started packing up for my departure. Maya seemed pleased with my resignation and briskly returned to her desk, while I felt a pang of regret for being outmaneuvered into resigning. There was also a sense of liberation, and if she thinks I'm incompetent, she's probably mistaken. Imagining what might happen next, I couldn't help but smirk. "Edna, Smith is here to see you," a colleague at the reception called out to me. Having worked in customer service for over 30 years, I've naturally built close relationships with many clients. Smith, in particular, had been entrusting me in using our bank for over 20 years. "Thank you, I'll be right there." This would be my last day to serve such clients. I wish I had more time to properly say goodbye. It was a great regret. Determined to serve my last client with all my heart, I headed to Smith's waiting seat. After finishing my duties for the last time, I bid farewell to my colleagues in the locker room. They were shocked by my sudden resignation and openly expressed their anger towards the manager. "How much we rely on Edna! That woman has no idea. Who are we going to turn to in difficult times now?"
"Exactly. Not just us. Many longtime customers depend on Edna too,"
they said, their faces almost tearful. "I'm concerned about the customers too. It's unfortunate that I have to leave without saying goodbye, but if anyone asks for me, please explain it to them." "Of course, we've got it." "Thank you. I'm sorry for the suddenness. If you ever need help, feel free to call me," I said, bidding farewell to the bank where I'd worked for so many years. The next day, during lunchtime, I received a message on social media from one of the young bank clerks while sipping tea at home. "Smith came in this morning and canceled all his deposits. He said if Edna isn't here, there's no reason to keep his money with us." Smith, the only customer I had the chance to say goodbye to? When I told him about my resignation yesterday, he seemed deeply disappointed, which probably led to his decision. I felt terribly sorry, but it was out of my hands now. In my heart, I thanked Smith for trusting me so much and for his gesture. By the way, Smith is a president of a very famous local trading company and was one of my biggest clients. I remember hearing his total assets were nearly $1 billion. The amount he had deposited with us was about $700 million. With such large withdrawals, our branch must have suffered a significant blow. What? What do you mean? A customer who was with Edna said that if Edna is no longer here, there's no point in keeping their account with our bank, so they canceled everything. What? Really? Maya was reportedly so surprised that she was speechless. I wish I could have seen her reaction with my own eyes. A week passed since I had left my job. During this time, I'd received several calls from my former colleagues, informing me that many customers, just like Smith, were canceling their accounts upon learning of my departure. The staff knew that I hadn't left of my own accord, but was forced out, so they were unable to persuade these customers to stay. Furthermore, the news of my departure led to dozens of inquiries each day at the branch. Following these inquiries, customers would come in the next day to close their accounts. Maya was reportedly pale with fear as the cancellations continued day after day. If this trend persisted, the survival of the branch itself was in jeopardy. She was living in fear, wondering when the next account cancellation would occur. Then I heard that an investigation had been launched by the headquarters. In just over a week since my departure, the total amount of canceled accounts has exceeded $2 billion. The assistant manager was confronting Meyer daily, filled with anger and panic.
Why did you arbitrarily decide to fire Edna? With Edna's experience, it's obvious she had a strong standing relationship with our clients. How are you going to handle the situation?
Then, Michael, the division manager from headquarters, came for the investigation.
It's been a while, Branch Manager Anderson. You seem to be having a tough time since your assignment. What happened?
Ah, Michael, the division manager. Welcome, welcome. Maya, completely taken aback, greeted him in a flustered voice. The employees were apparently struggling to hold back their laughter.
I heard you recently let go of Edna, who had been working here for many years. Were you unaware of her reputation? Edna was highly regarded even in the headquarters.
Maya was visibly shocked to learn about my reputation and seemed amazed that someone was. What? Really? But she seemed so unassuming.
Hey, appearances don't matter. Edna was diligent and attentive, managing many long-term clients. Edna was entrusted so much with the clients that they felt comfortable only with her. Didn't you know she was repeatedly recognized in company-wide meetings?
What did you say? Hearing this exchange, Michael spoke up calmly.
Maya, this situation is a result of your unilateral decisions. You must be prepared to take responsibility.
How could you not know that Edna was just doing relaxed cleaning and occasionally helping others? Why didn't you inform me? Maya tried to defend herself in panic, but the assistant manager retorted.
Don't blame me. Judging Edna as incompetent based on just a few days of observation is absurd. Plus, you fired her while I was away on business. If you had consulted me, I would have never allowed you to fire her.
Maya was left speechless and trembling. Michael continued.
We will have a board meeting to discuss this matter. Also, we have reviewed your work history. You have increased contract numbers through forced methods. There have been numerous complaints from both staff and customers at your previous branches, and all of them were related to your clients.
Maya looked at Michael with a tearful face. He went on.
Our bank's motto is sincerity to customers. Your approach would never earn their trust. And your failure to recognize hard work employees like Edna shows you lack the ability to lead. Regardless of the outcome, Maya, I don't see a bright future for you in this bank.
After saying this, Michael left for the headquarters. Maya collapsed on the spot, stunned and unable to move for a while, as reported by a colleague who witnessed the scene. During my time as a teller, I had actually been personally requested by many clients, including executives, CEOs, chairpersons, private investors, and owners of private businesses, mostly for substantial transactions. The amounts they deposited ranged from tens to hundreds of millions like Smith. Not knowing this and firing me meant losing the trust of these clients who had faith in me, leading them to surely transfer their accounts elsewhere. It was something that could have easily been foreseen, yet all because Maya rashly deemed me incompetent. Following this, Maya was relieved of her position as branch manager and was sent to work in a remote branch, doing the same teller work she had looked down upon. However, her attitude and mannerisms continued to alienate both staff and customers, leaving her counter mostly empty. There's even talk of her being moved to a contractual position. If she had changed her attitude after being transferred, things might have turned out differently, but it seems her pride didn't allow it. I deeply pity her for that. Later, Michael and the assistant manager visited my home to personally apologize.
We are truly sorry for what happened to a model employee like you, Edna. Maya's rudeness will be apologized for by me on her behalf. Edna, would you consider coming back to work at our bank? Edna, I'm also asking you, please. I'm truly sorry for the unpleasant experience you had. It was my oversight, but our branch really needs you. Please, please come back."
Both of them bowed deeply, pleading repeatedly for me to return to work. Their desperate demeanor led me to ask for some time to think it over. That night, after discussing it with Bob, he said,
"If they went to that length to ask you, and you think it's right, then maybe you should go back."
Given that the root cause, Meyer, was going to be dealt with, and they were so earnest in wanting me back, I saw no reason to refuse. The next day I contacted the assistant manager and successfully returned to work. Upon my return, I reached out to the customers who had canceled their accounts. Fortunately, most of them came back. The assistant manager was overjoyed. Both the customers and I had returned. It was a rare sight to see a grown man cry and bow in gratitude, something you wouldn't see anywhere else. I heard that our branch was at risk of being absorbed, but this new issue was resolved thanks to the return of the customers. With Maya transferred, the assistant manager was promoted to branch manager. He might be a bit timid, but I think he's a good boss who pays attention to those around him. Since he relies on me, I have to work hard to meet his expectations. This incident has made both of us realize how important mutual trust is, and today, I'm working my best at the bank supporting my colleagues and each other.